Hello and welcome.
Hi.
Hi, we're back.
I don't really want to be here, but I'm here because she made me. That's how you sound.
Is it? I'm
A little
tired.
bit.
I think it's because I waited till
Are you
3 p.m.
tired?
Yes, I waited till like 3 p.m. to eat for the first day, for the first time today. It wasn't smart. It's bad.
No, not smart. I mean, I'm kind of hungry now, but I'm surrounded by unhealthy choices. I have a um, quart-sized bag that has candy in it, and then there's a a medium bag of chips next to me too, and there's a whole bottle of liquor. So I mean,
Just wrong choices all around.
all around, all
It's okay.
around.
It's okay. Oh shit! I'm Drea.
She is. I'm Michelle. We
Yay!
never do this right.
We never do it
And
right. We've been talking about food
no,
already, and this is
Life 401.
advanced shenanigans.
L- Did he?
Advanced shenanigans.
There
Adva-
we go.
advanced
Okay.
shenanigans. That's who we are. That's the bullshit we're spewing today.
Um. Oh,
It's been a
yeah.
week.
This episode is brought to you by
By the bullshit I'm spewing this week.
existential dread.
Oh no.
No, by existential dread. Everyone is having trouble.
Everybody's having trouble. It's not that we're having. Okay, I will say in the black community, we're not necessarily having trouble. I feel like the black community is
No.
absolutely gobsmacked. We are like flabbergasted by this week.
Yeah, we're on some. Do you see this shit?
See
Somebody
this?
come look at this shit.
Like nobody's
We
necessarily confused. Like one of my coworkers was like, I just don't know how this happened. We all know how this happened. Nobody's confused about
How
that.
did you not
Nobody's
know? No.
questions I need answers.
A coworker of mine, right? A coworker on my end of the spectrum was like, I just really couldn't get anything done. I was just, I just couldn't function. I'm like, oh, really? I did a whole bunch of work.
Because black people
I
are
don't,
used to horrible shit happening and then being like, well, gotta send this email.
yeah. Our unfortunately our trauma response is like sublimation to like push that shit away and
Yeah.
keep going. Like this didn't happen. We
Most of
just
us did this week making jokes
yeah.
about it. Black Twitter
Yeah.
went
We
in.
dissociate and use humor as a culture. It's
Absolutely.
still going in.
Oh, abs.
Black Twitter,
Every 5 seconds,
Black
especially with
Instagram,
every arrest. We're all going in. We don't care.
every arrest, every resignation. Like,
Time for comedy power hour. Every time it
right.
happens.
And so, so just for if you are listening to this in the middle of 2021, if you're confused, for you people who are like late subscribers,
We
we're
like you
talking about,
still. We're
yeah, we
okay.
like you too. Welcome, welcome. But just so you know, we're definitely talking about the attempted coup of the Capitol that
Right.
happened.
The shitty failed coup that happened this
It
weekend.
was, it,
This week.
I mean, it was failed, but also, let's be real, like no one has breached the Capitol's walls like that since 1812.
I mean, correct. Correct. It's
So
one,
I mean,
Georgia
it was
hasn't
failed,
gone
but
blue
also
since
it
1992.
was a little too easy for me.
It was way too easy. Like, that's the thing. It was way too easy. And people like to talk about how in the 1970s, the Black Panthers showed up at the Capitol with guns and walked onto the steps and stuff like that. But what they don't talk about is that they were met with horribleness. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Black Panthers got put on the FBI's most wanted list. Like, they were systematically dismantled and hunted.
Yes. Yes. Hunted down like a poacher hunting big game in Africa.
Absolutely. And it was still
It was,
peaceful, even though they showed up there with guns. No one died.
yeah, this was a shit show.
This was a shit show. This is the Benghazi of Trump's time.
This was just
Lock her up. What about the emails? That's what I want to know.
what about the emails?
What about the emails? Trump, where are your emails? This
No, I want to know about the birth certificate.
Where's your birth certificate? Prove that you're a citizen. I want it all.
Shit.
I want it all. Georgia went blue this week.
And I want it now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, it did. Again.
Again,
Again.
because motherfuckers didn't believe it in
It
November.
was
So Georgia
we
had to
went
be like,
blue.
bitch, I meant what I said.
Yeah. Like I said what I said.
I did
Did I stutter?
it. I did not. Like, we said it with our full chest. It was a thing. I'm proud of us. I've never been more proud to have gone to the school that I went to because our alumni killed it with this. Um, and our alumni for the community that I belong to because of that school hopefully will kill it as well. I don't have a lot of faith because I don't have a lot of faith in Congress, but that's just me.
Hey, we're trying. Have some faith.
And America's a shit show. We've been trash for years, but uh, I digress. You're right. I had coworkers who were like, I just couldn't function. I couldn't tear my eyes away from it. I couldn't tear my eyes away from it, to be honest. But like, I still got my work done.
Right.
Like, I had people who were like, I just don't know how this happened. I just don't know how this happened. And to that, I say, you're not paying attention, but whatever. But yeah, it's been a busy
Right.
week. And yet, and still professionally, with this being the first week back to work for me in ages, as for as is the same for most of corporate America.
Yeah. Just been living it up.
Right. Which, by the way, can I just tell you, my family utterly confused. Utterly confused as to how I was like, yeah, most of the company's gone for the next like 2 weeks. They're just out of here. They were so like, what? What do you mean you haven't worked in weeks? Because corporate America decides at the end of every year that everybody's out because they give you only so much
Go away.
time to take, and then they say you have to use it by the end of the year.
then and then like the worst part is you're you're stuck because you can't use it in the middle of the year, like because you're like, when do I how can I take a month off? Like I can't.
How do I
What
take
do
a
you
month
want me to
off?
do? All this shit I have to do.
Likewise, it's been a pandemic, so like I really didn't have any reason rhyme to take things off. And then you get to December and you're like, oh, it's a skeleton crew. How is this happening? But I digress.
How are we even operating?
How how is this a business? But most corporate America,
Right.
employees, that's how you live. That's just what it is.
Yeah, it's like feast and famine. And during December, starting at like Thanksgiving until the first week of January, it's a skeleton crew.
It's skeleton crew. You never know when people are at work. You just
No.
don't know. It's a
And then
guessing
the
game.
other time, you don't. Yeah. And then in the industry that we work in, the other time it's like that is between like all of June and July. You never know who's fucking working.
Oh yeah. Especially like July. I would say June, sometimes it's like hit or miss. July, it's anybody's guess.
You're like, you're like, is Susan working? No, she took a week off to go to Disney World with her whole family.
Got
She'll
it,
be
got
back.
it. Got it what?
Got
Is
it. Well,
Jacob
how about
in?
Alex? Is Alex working? No, they went to the cabins.
Nothing.
No, he's backpacking. Do
Mm,
you remember that
yeah,
that we had that one person who went backpacking
they
and
did.
his out of office was like, I am probably somewhere in Vermont, like in the woods.
In the
I can't
woods.
get to you.
No,
What
they're at
the
the lake this
fuck?
week. Like, it's anybody's guess. So, for those of you like me, who this was your first
Right.
week back to work in weeks, and then all these things
What are
happen,
we
God
doing?
bless you. What are we doing?
Yeah.
How are you functioning? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm barely making it. This is the first time I've worked a full week of work since the week before Thanksgiving.
Yep. It is. It is.
That's crazy.
I was working different stuff. Yeah, it is crazy. I worked a little bit. Worked a little bit more than you, but still, no one really. When I say I worked, that means I turned on my computer.
Because no one's here.
No, I watched a lot of Criminal Minds. I did. I started Criminal Minds after Thanksgiving, and I am on like season 6 or 7. And
See,
these Criminal Minds seasons have like 22 episodes.
right. These are like true American seasons of television. This
Yeah,
is
this
not
is
like a British season where it's done after like 8 episodes. No, no, no.
yeah, or like the limited series on Netflix. Hell no.
Hell
This
no.
was meant to last a whole like like a whole season of television.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
But yeah.
But we're back. We're back. We're okay. I made it through the entire week.
Mhm.
I worked every day to the best of my ability. And, and I'm going to do this again for another week until I get a day off for Martin Luther King Day. Whoop, whoop.
Yay.
Yay! Because, everybody knows when Martin Luther King Day
And
and came about, it solved racism. Let's celebrate it.
of course.
Of course.
Yeah. We're living in a post-racial society.
That's right. I didn't mean to laugh that hard. Yeah, she's right. You tell him, Michelle.
If you believe that shit, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn.
Absolutely. Anyway, but I have been
Anyway,
founding. I have
so
been finding pockets of joy. There have been pockets. May, Black people on social media, let me tell you, a hand praise for all of you because you guys have been keeping it moving. You've been finding other topics to talk about. You guys have
yeah,
kept me entertained this week. I will tell you. Um,
it's been a thing,
because Michelle, I don't drink during the week,
right?
and I only drink on the weekends or if I'm on vacation. And
Mhm.
this was a hard week to be like, I'm not drinking at in the evening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a hard week. So, I've been keeping myself occupied with books a lot. Thank goodness for the new Jasmine Sullivan album that came out. Let me tell
Mm.
you, it's a hit. I've listened to it twice. Um, I also listened to Japanese hip hop slash indie rock music for hours this week. We're just like, turn on the Japanese
You
jams.
just been listening to
Music has been killing it.
you just been all over the place.
I have. It's not been a static week for me. But in a good way. What have you been doing? How have you been finding joy? Of
Um, I've been reading books
course you have.
and still watching Criminal Minds. Um, I decided on a reading challenge for myself for this year. I'm
Yeah.
going to read 200 books.
I think that's doable for you.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I think
How
it's
many did you
doable.
get last
How
year?
many books did I tell you that I have no fucking idea. And that was one of the reasons why I was like, let me do this challenge because I realized if you do, excuse me, if you do the like a reading challenge on Goodreads, it keeps a track of how many books you read and then it'll tell you if you go over.
Oh, see, I mine gave me a end of year tally. I'm trying to look through our
Oh, I didn't, how do you find
our text
out?
messages. I don't know. It just did it at the end of the year. My Goodreads did it. And it was like, oh, so I know I made it to at least 140 books this year because of Goodreads.
Hmm.
Um, so
I don't know.
my
I don't know
goal for
how
this
many.
year is going
How
to
do
be
you find
150.
out?
Mm,
How do you find out? I want to know. Oh, I don't know how you find out, but I'm gonna have to look it up. But so far this year, I have read 13 books. Those are the books that I've completed. Don't ask me how many books I'm reading at this moment.
it
There's
changes every
about 3 or
five seconds.
4, but I be having to jump and skip.
Yeah. That's my
Yeah,
one issue is like I'm always reading more than one book,
yeah,
more than one book at a time. Always.
yeah.
But yeah, I I'm excited for you. I hope I'm going to join the challenge. I hope that you reach your goal.
I hope so. I've read. Well, let's. My math is shitty, but if I'm trying to read 200 books a day or 200 books a year, that's
Mhm.
a little under, like, that's not even a book a day.
Yeah.
So I can do it. I
You
can,
can definitely do it cuz you'll be
yeah.
finishing multiple books within a day. So, I'm excited
Some,
for you though. Push
thank you, thank you.
yourself. Challenge. Is that
Yeah,
how it goes?
yeah. I'm gonna, oh, we can tell everyone about the challenge we decided to do together that we decided on today.
Oh yeah, we picked that out today.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, we love to eat, Michelle and I. We
Hmm.
enjoy a good food
All the time.
moment. I like to food myself. I know
We do.
Michelle likes to food herself. Um I don't know, you
Yep,
came up with this challenge.
yep, yep.
You tell them about it. I don't know how to describe it.
What do you say?
I said you tell them about it. You came up with it. I don't know how to describe it.
Man, I stole this shit off TikTok. Um, so so these two friends, they did a challenge and they did the alphabet food challenge. So what it was, they went to a restaurant for every letter in the alphabet.
Oh
They
yeah.
started at A, of course. Don't start anywhere else. Um, and they did Applebee's first. Um, I can't remember all the places, but I know they went to Applebee's, and then for they went to IHOP.
The question is going to be like, do we have to do them in order? Because I would rather not, but okay. I
I
just
don't
want to
want to
be
do them in
contrary.
order.
Fine.
You're so fucking
Can't we start with Annie Ann?
You want us to start with Annie Ann's
It's
because
an
you want to eat
A.
pretzels.
I would like a pretzel.
I
Michelle, you
knew where
know
this
how
was
much I enjoy
going.
a pretzel.
I know. I guess we can go and get the if we can do the pretzel dog thingies. Yes,
Those are delicious. While we actually wait to go eat our real food
eat
this
other
weekend.
food.
It'll
Yeah,
be like an appetizer.
we're the worst.
We're not good. We're not
And
good
then we'll go to
humans.
the next restaurant. We're not. And then we'll go to the actual restaurant after we've eaten Auntie Anne's, like these
Right.
pretzels, and we'll get another appetizer.
Absolutely. Because you can't not have an appetizer at the restaurant. What am I expected to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I will
what would
also
you like?
say I will also say we might have to suspend that if we end up going to visit my mother because there are restaurants I would like to visit that only exist there. And
Oh no, that's fine.
thank you.
That's fine.
I'm like, I will not sacrifice that. But yeah, so we're challenging ourselves to do new things. In theory, I
Yeah,
want to
we're gonna
try
do new
like a
things.
writing challenge too, where I actually have to like write a certain amount each week.
I like that for you. I'm not doing that.
You know how many stories I have that I've just been like, I'm done. Is the story done? No,
I'm just done.
I'm just done writing. I don't want to hear it anymore. But I have been inspired to write lately, so
uh, who inspired you to write lately?
I don't know who or what. But lately I've been like, Drea, you should open up some of these old stories and write on them. There's more up in you to tell about it. So I might use it
Okay.
as an excuse. And I might drag
Okay.
your bitch ass along with me.
I'm not.
Kicking and
Wait.
screaming. Yep, I said it.
I'd like to not.
Too late.
I don't want to write. I promised myself after my capstone I wouldn't write another fucking thing.
This is writing for fun. In
I
quote.
used to you so here's the thing that I don't know if you know this about me, Drea. Um, I used to have a WordPress
Ooh.
and I specialized in very bad poetry.
Oh, nice. I did not know that about you. Sp- spit a verse.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way. I didn't
Let
say I
us
did spoken word. I said I did poetry. That
read
means
us
I
some of your
write it,
work
you have
one
to read
day.
it.
No, you read it out loud like a reading, right? You
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. That would be my sister V.
okay. No, one day we may need you to publish some of these works.
I mean, this this WordPress exists. It's still out there.
It is? Oh shit! I got a deep dive. Is it under a pseudonym?
Uh-huh.
Ah, shit. Okay. When we get off of this, when we stop talking to each other and the world, I'm gonna
You're gonna go look for it.
I'm gonna search. I've let you read some of my work, not a ton, but some of it. You must
Okay.
do the same.
I must do what?
Allow me to read yours.
Oh, you can. I mean, I already read your stuff, so yeah, you can read it. We can laugh about how bad it is
It'd be
anytime.
great. No, God.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say it's bad until I read it. I reserve the right to hold off judgment.
Okay.
Okay. Anywho,
Yes. Are pineapples in season?
right now,
It doesn't matter. Let me tell you what I'm doing. So you're like, what are you
please.
talking about? So you know how I do the Misfits box of vegetables
Mm-hmm.
and fruit?
Yeah.
So it's every other week, but it's been a while since I got a box because I discontinued. I didn't get my box. I didn't get my box, and I didn't get a box for Thanksgiving, and I didn't get a box during Christmas. And so now I'm doing my box picking, and pineapples is one of the things that I can get. And I'm like, is that in season?
Get a pineapple. I don't care if it's in season. I will eat the fuck out of that pineapple. I love pineapple.
Okay. Okay. I'll get
Get
the
it for me.
pineapple.
Get it for me.
I got it.
Pineapple.
Anyway, we
Delicious.
did have a topic that we were
We
trying to talk
did.
about today,
We,
didn't we? Don't we?
yes, yes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, according to the sources, we did. Um,
Who's the
sorry.
sources?
Um, um, QAnon. I don't fucking know.
QAnon?
Is that not
No.
oopsie doodles?
It's you fucking said oopsie doodles. After Loki saying we're a part of QAnon. Look, let me
We
tell
are
you
not.
something.
We are not a part of QAnon.
You can't. Oopsie doodles. What the
Oopsie
hell?
doodles. No, I would
Okay,
not even
okay.
know how to find them. No, thank you. I'm not a part of any of that mess.
Yeah. Okay. We're not a part of that. So, in light of like current events, what we had decided that we were going to like talk to you guys about today is take it away, Drea.
Is the bullshit electoral college system and the way that we choose a president? Because let me tell you right now, it's bullshit.
I mean, yes, but why is it bullshit,
It's bullshit
Drea?
because it was created by a bunch of fucking hypocrites who declared their freedom because they did not want to pay their taxes and then realized, oh, we have to create an actual system of government. But we only want to create a system of government that allows us to thrive and those who are not in power not to thrive. Sorry, I used to be a teacher, guys. Can you believe
Can
it?
you believe that?
And I used to teach this to students sometimes. And I would also get in a lot of trouble because I said the very same things to my students that I just said to you. America's full of shit. Always has been. But
Yeah.
we're gonna talk a little bit more in depth about it. So
Oh my goodness.
what? Oh, sorry.
So,
So, you know, unfortunately America does not choose who is going to win the election based on the popular vote. They do this system called the Electoral College. And this is how shitty the voting system was. When they created the Constitution, they did not have all of this worked out.
oh Lord.
Like, straight up, the
No, they
Electoral
were
College
they were
system,
on some
it was on some baby back bullshit. There was on some, we'll figure it out soon. It was, it did
baby
not,
bag bullshit.
yeah, baby back bullshit. Yeah. Do you not use that term? Is that not?
I'm pretty I'm pretty sure you're the only person.
Okay, well, I said what I said. And so what they decided to do was sometime
No, you
after,
didn't. You said
sometime,
it.
yes, sometime after the Constitution was created, they were like, okay, so in this process, we're going to have, and each state is going to get a set of electors, and those electors are going to be in charge of who actually gets to pick the president. And it's going to be based off of what people in the state say. However, the electors don't necessarily have to go with what the people in the state say. So
I guess it would just make more sense.
it would make more sense, but they also were like, well, if a certain number of people within a certain margin, then the electors get to choose this process. And if there's a technical tie, then we get to re-choose and just choose who we want, which is what happened with like the election of 1800, where they were like, here's hoping that we can make a choice, and they didn't. It was a tie.
They did not.
And the electors got to just be like, fuck it, we're choosing this person. And that's how Thomas Jefferson became president.
Say,
Shit you
Thomas
not.
Jefferson, I choose you.
Legitimately, it was like them being like, well, nobody likes John Adams, so it's between these two guys. Who we gonna choose, guys? And it was really just them being like, I guess we kind of like Jefferson better. I mean, Burr's really personable, but like, I guess we're gonna go with Thomas Jefferson.
I guess.
I guess. And like straight up, the 12th Amendment, which which is the process in which, or it's the reason why January 6th of this year mattered so much. It was when the electors take their decision to Congress. So they take their Electoral College votes and they say, I'm going to go with Congress, and we are going to officially say to Congress, this is who we are choosing because our states wanted this person. We went through some court cases. They turned in the ballots. This is who we're going to go with. Right.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, those ballots have to be turned in and those court cases have to be at least reasonably settled by like mid-December
Right.
to allow for the electors to collect all of the ballots, make sure all of the ballots are correct, and then take it up to Congress. And the reason these dates are so far apart is, remember back in the day, they used to have to physically move these shits.
Yeah. And there was not a lot of like technological advances. They
No,
were in buggies.
they was in buggies. So it was like, oh yeah, like I voted back in November. It did not necessarily get to my electors until beginning of December because horses and buggies and no such thing as the internet or computers or shit. Um, and so I had to physically move, right? So that being said, it does take a bit of time. And you can always look up the Electoral College. Every state has a different amount of electors. They tried to make it so that states with a smaller population got relatively smaller numbers of electors, but each elector has the same like weight of vote, which is
Right.
why we end up giving a fuck about like what's going on in Nebraska. It's why the middle of the country
If
can
anyone is
can really
listening from
change some shit.
Nebraska, she didn't mean it in a mean way, but
No, I don't mean it in a mean way. Go Nebraska. But let's be real. If we're measuring the amount of people in Nebraska versus the amount of people in, say, Texas, one of these things is
mm,
not like the other. You know what I'm saying? Um, but, Nebraska and Vermont have the same number of electors. They both have three. But if you get enough of these like smaller elector states, you can really do some damage. And that's what a lot of presidents in the past have based their kind of campaigns on, including Trump's original campaign. Trump originally won not necessarily because these big, highly populous states voted for him. In fact, most of them didn't. It's these smaller states where he was able to win a bunch of little numbers of electors that pushed him over the first time around.
Mhm.
This time around, Biden went after some of those smaller states that people were like, you really think you're going to get? He went after places like Wisconsin and Arizona. He went after places like
Mm-mm-mm.
Nevada, like places where traditionally Democrats or more liberal people weren't looking at, and more Republican or more conservative people were looking at, because in the Midwest, what do you have? It's a lot of farms. It's a lot of, as they call it, like in flyover country. I didn't make up the
Mhm.
name, the world did.
No, you didn't. That's flyover country is a real thing.
It's a real thing. Flyover country, like, it's a lot of farmland. It's a slower life than when you get into like more populous metropolitan areas. And a lot of the times they tend to go with more conservative views. They care about what you're going to do for the economy, because if you start messing with, things like tariffs and things like trade, that's really going to affect their livelihoods. And traditionally,
Mhm.
the party of Reagan, right, that it used to be, that's what they
The
used to,
party of
the
Reagan.
party of Reagan, that's what they used to like bank themselves on. It's like, we give a damn
Oh, I'm
about the
I'm
economy.
so sorry. Reagan,
Oh,
party of five. Reagan, party of
Reagan,
five.
party of five.
One more time. Reagan, party of five. They're not here.
They're not here. They're not here.
Not here.
It's fine. But no, like that's what they used to bank themselves on. And, you know, whereas Democrats typically would base themselves on, more social policies and things that involved more things like housing and um, departments of education. Like they cared more about those things, which only made a bigger divide, unfortunately. So I say all that to say
Right.
it becomes very vital that for things to change, you have to start caring and saying you actually cared more about things like tariffs and more things about trade and more things about farming and agriculture
Mhm.
to be able to win some of these smaller,
Mhm.
for lack of a better term, flyover states. Um, or you have to hope that the demographics of those states changed, which is what happened in Georgia. The demographics of Georgia just so happened to change because we had an influx of different types of economies happen in Georgia over the last really like 10 years. Well,
Mhm.
I would even go as far as say like over the last 15 years, where, the movie industry came to Georgia, which really changed the
Right.
demographics. There were a lot of tech companies that moved to Georgia. A lot of corporations moved to Georgia over the last 15
Yeah.
years. And that changed the
Makes
demographics.
us a little more progressive.
It makes us a little bit more progressive all of a sudden. It makes us a little bit more um, diverse all of a sudden. And so you have people who, because of the movie industry, may have lived in Florida before, or may have lived in California before, or New York before, that now live in Georgia. Because of the corporations, the same thing happens, right? And that's how Georgia flips. But
Yeah.
the bigger thing that happens, and the thing that so everybody's kind of waiting to see what happened on the 6th, which was Wednesday, was when the electoral vote actually had to be counted in Congress. And that is something that is set up in the Constitution by the 12th Amendment before the inauguration, at least 2 weeks before the inauguration. They have to count these votes in front of Congress, in front of the president of Congress, who happens to be the vice president of the United States, the president of the Senate. If for some reason the
Mhm.
president of the Senate can't be there, of course, the president pro tempore, um, who in this case happens to be a Republican because it's a Republican run Senate right now,
Mhm.
They have to count those votes. But it is set out as a part of the 12th Amendment in the Constitution. It has to start by that date. It does not have to finish by that date. And the reason I make that distinction is because historically it does not always finish on that date.
No.
And that's because objections can be made. So my nerdy ass was watching at 1 p.m.
Of course.
when the vote counted,
Of
when the vote count
of
started. Of course I
I
was, right?
bet. You probably were watching from the beginning, like you say. You were
Absolutely.
ready. It was an event for you.
It was a, I was already tuned in at 1 p.m. when the when the Electoral College began reading out what the count was to the vice president, which is happens to be who is it? Pence, the robot that is Pence, right? And it was already a big question.
I don't think Pence is a robot.
You don't?
Pence is clearly a zombie. No, he's clearly a zombie, but carry on.
Okay.
Flies don't like robots.
I mean, machinery, it's warm, easy to breed. You don't think so? Okay.
No,
All right.
there's no moistness.
Machines don't like moisture. You're right. God bless.
Yeah, they rust.
They do. Oh God. Um and so on that day there are 538 possible electoral college votes up for grabs. And they are not officially divvied out until they are read to Congress and approved in Congress, right? So they got started, and I was already watching one because President Trump had been urging Vice President Pence to somehow overthrow the Constitution during this time and reject these votes. Which, one, if you followed Vice President Pence at all throughout his political history, he has always said he is a staunch constitutionalist. He believes the Constitution should be followed
Yeah.
to the frickin' letter. So it was a question of like, oh, well, what's he gonna do? And immediately Pence was like, look, I'm not going against the Constitution here. My constitutional duties state I am only to either accept or I was only to accept the votes or accept objections. That's all I can do by the law. And you can see all four of the, kind of like electoral count runners reading him by the Constitution what he's allowed to say. So, and immediately you also heard Senate and House Republicans saying, well, what if I want to make objections? And so that was the big thing that was supposed to be happening on Wednesday. It was like they were planning to make objections to these ballots for at least 6 states, if not more. And, they got through Alaska and Alabama and Arkansas. No, they didn't get to Arkansas. They got through Alabama, Alaska. They got to Arizona, and the first objection came up. If you don't know what the objections are meant to do, there's only 2 reasons that like Congress can make objections to the Electoral College vote. And one of the rules is that the Electoral College votes must be one of 2 things. So they must be legally given without any kind of like delay. And they must reflect what, the state says. I'm trying to look for of course, I have the constitutioncenter.org pulled up. Because I'm trying to make sure that I have
Of course you do.
Thank you. Because I care. Okay. So they must be regularly given and lawfully certified. And the lawful certification is not necessarily anything that they actually could kind of for lack of a better term, fight against, right? Lawfully certified is up to the states. If the ballots came in, they go through the entire, court cases that Trump brought against. The courts go through, look at the ballots, the um, the the election centers and the secretary of the elections in each state looks at them, and then they have to be certified in each county and then at the state level. So lawfully certified was not necessarily something they had a case for, but regularly given was. And so that was what the fight was. They were going to say these things were not regularly given because a lot more people voted by mail and a lot more people voted early because of the pandemic, and they had all these reasons, right? And so when they did their first objection to Arizona, they were like, no, because they weren't regularly given, and we need to make sure that they aren't, blah, 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 blah. And legally, here's what has to happen. And I'm going to be honest, they, again, because the people who wrote the Constitution, people who created this country were hypocrites, and they were done by the end of the Constitutional Convention, did not actually give a fuck about how they were going to make a president. They did not actually flesh
No,
this out. They
no.
didn't flesh it out at all until the 1880s, which is almost a full 100 years after we declared our independence.
Mhm. Oh, fun fact though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the last time that the Constitution was amended?
Oh no, when?
The last time the Constitution was amended
I want to say
was
like the
in
20s.
1992.
Really?
No, 1992. Yeah, it was
92?
the 27th Amendment. Yes.
What was that one about? Is that the affirmative action?
Um, it was no, no. It's it required any change to the rate of compensation for members of US Congress to take effect only after the subsequent election in the House of Representatives. So
Nice.
we can't cut your we can't cut your money until after the election. Like, or we can't increase it until after the election.
Yeah, so you can't just increase your amount of money right now. You have to wait until after the next election passes. Wow, I did not realize that. Look at us. We're
Mhm.
learning, guys. I was
1992.
1992. Good God. That's not that long. That I was alive then.
Yeah.
Jesus, you were alive then.
So was I.
Yeah.
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 My
Okay.
sister wasn't.
Oh
My sister
God.
wasn't. V
Oh,
was not.
she was not. All of my siblings were
No.
alive. All of us were.
Yeah. Zhao.
Well, we are not old. It's fine. Anyway,
Okay. Sorry, Drea's siblings, if you're listening. You're just seasoned. You're not old.
sure. um, but before like the 1880s, they did not necessarily have a way to do it, to take these objections. They were just doing them on a case by case basis. The only reason they
Mhm.
had to create a rule was after the 1876 elections, which was the election of Rutherford B. Hayes. Fun fact, Rutherford B. Hayes and his family used to own my ancestors. The more you know.
I don't know. I don't did you call that a fun fact? I, mm,
Okay, less fun, more tragic.
yeah, I feel like my fact was more fun than your fact.
Your fact was a lot more fun than my fact, but I will say
Yeah.
again, black people dissociate and connect through humor. So,
That is
tragic fact.
humor. Yeah.
President Rutherford B. Hayes' family used to
Yeah.
own my ancestors.
Yeah. I'd also like to point out that I feel like all the amendments to the Constitution happened after someone fucked some shit up. Like,
Absolutely.
oh, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Maybe
Let's make a rule.
absolutely. So there were a lot of
Mm,
objections during that election, actually. Tons of objections. Um, so much so that they had to create a short term fix and choose a president not using electors. And
we're,
there's
we're, we're
go
that's
for it.
no, that's like you have a you have a pipe burst. You're like, I'm just gonna put some gum on it, like
Yeah,
in the cartoons. I'm gonna put some gum on it and some tape.
tape it up, use some
That's
duct tape, and just hope it holds, right? That's what they did for the election, guys. And so what they
that's
did
not
was, it's
okay.
not okay. They created a 15-member commission, right? And this 15-member commission was like 5 House of Representative people, 5 senators, and 5 Supreme Court justices, and they decided who won. That's it. That's how they chose a president, guys. Right? So after that, Congress was like, we can't let this happen again. So they created the Election Count Act of 1887, which is what put some parameters on what happens and how often and how to what effect people can contest the electors in each state, which basically says you can say and voice your objections. Once you do that, because this happens in a joint session of Congress, debate cannot happen within a joint session of Congress ever. They're just there to to like hear things, so they have to split, right, the sections of Congress into the House and the
Hmm.
Senate. They go into their chambers. They debate for 2 hours max. That's it. You get 2 hours, and then you vote on to about whether
Hmm.
we're gonna say this objection is valid or we're not. Here's the thing about January 6th, 2021. Everyone knew that anytime there was an objection, they were going to have to split. They would do a 2 hour debate, and then it would get voted down because there was not enough people to support the objections. However, what it would have shown is who was standing with President Trump and who was not explicitly. Right. However, as we know, on January 6th, 2021, when they split for the Arizona debate, they started the debate. Mitch McConnell was like, this is stupid. Chuck Schumer was also like, this is stupid. I don't understand why we're doing this BS. And then a coup happened. So they did not, like, I think Senator Ted Cruz got to talk for like 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden it was like, people are breaking into Congress. Let's not. Um, it was
We don't have time for this. Like, we
like,
have to get the
let's
fuck out the way.
exactly, like, we've got to run. So ideally, the counting of the electoral ballots, let's be honest, should take about 20 minutes. It should take about 20 minutes. However, the more objections, the more time it takes, people get angry, people get ornery. They're just hoping to wear you down. You know what I'm saying? To extend this process longer by objecting. But it wasn't going to necessarily do much, especially not in this case. Um,
Right.
Once the electoral college votes are certified by Congress, that is the president. Whomever they choose is the president. They will be
Yes.
inaugurated. There's no question anymore.
That's it.
Um, which is why Wednesday was supposed to be so important. The coup happened. It is also why they just both houses of Congress decided, fuck this, we're going back in there and we're certifying these goddamn votes. We're not doing this anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, as you may have
People don't get
known,
that though.
people don't get it. People don't understand why they went back in. People don't understand like why they didn't wait. And it's like, no, it was the principle of the matter of like, you're not going to stop this show. One monkey, 2,000 monkeys, 3,000 fools aren't going to stop this show. and we need to get about the business of democracy. Um,
Right.
and once and for all, choose a president and stop fucking around. Stop giving anybody any chance to be like, well,
Yeah.
that's not who's the president. Yes, it is. Shut the fuck up. Pardon my language.
Yeah. And then who was it? Was it Mitch McConnell who was like, if we continue to fight like this, no one will ever accept a president ever again.
Absolutely, it was,
Like they
which was
won't just be like, this
surprising.
is yeah, this is the president because of this.
Yeah, it was Mitch McConnell. And he said that before the stupid cute coup ever happened. He said that
Yeah.
as soon as um, the Arizona objection went up and they went into the Senate chamber, he made the first speech because he is the Senate Majority Leader. He got to make the first speech.
Mhm.
Um, and and he was like, "This is dumb as fuck. As long as we do this, as long as if we go through with saying we object and we are not going to certify these votes, no American election is ever going to be accepted. We will just keep
He
running
was
into the
right.
same issue." And he's completely right. Now, did he wait a little long to say it? Yeah. But I do appreciate that he said it. And he said it before the
Of course he
craziness happened.
did.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've been talking a lot because I give a fuck about this shit, unfortunately.
No, this is your jam.
It's
Like
my jam.
this is your jam. I'm okay with you. This is the Drea episode. It's all right.
I'm sorry. I'm just really into
Don't
it.
apologize.
Because it matters.
Shoot,
It matters.
Yeah, you are. It
Sorry,
does matter.
it does. But
No, no, no. It really does matter.
it does.
Um, if for no other reason, then what the hell are we gonna tell our kids?
Right. Because this is
You
going in the
know,
history books, you guys.
it
Like, if you think it's
it
not,
has no choice. We have to, and then we have to talk about how this free and those think about shit like that. The picture of that idiot sitting in Nancy Pelosi's chair with his feet cocked up, that's gonna be in a history book.
oh, absolutely. Or
That
the
idiot
dumbass
with
who was sitting in the Senate chamber on the President pro tempore's seat yelling.
yes,
Like, it's going in there.
it's yeah.
Be prepared, guys. We
I'm
live
just
in infamy.
the memes.
The memes have been hilarious.
Yeah,
I will
but
tell you.
so we're talking. So yeah, so like Drea has told you all about like how we got to where we are, right? About
Hmm.
how the Electoral College became a thing, why it became a thing,
Right.
some fucked up reasons is why.
It's a lot of fucked up reasons.
Um,
Mainly people wanted to stay in power, but whatever.
yeah, I mean, people don't oppressed people don't look for equality, they look for privilege.
They sure do. That's a great
And you
quote.
can quote me on that.
Hell
Yeah, you
yeah.
can quote like it's sad, but it's true. So the other thing is like, so where do we go from here now? If you've been paying attention to the news any, and just a little bit because I hate the news. So if I have seen this, you've seen this. Um, one thing, um, people of the Trump administration are jumping ship.
Souls.
I mean, they waited to the last possible moment, but they're jumping ship.
They are. Thank God Betsy DeVos is gone. Praise the Lord.
Man, she couldn't
She,
educate herself out of a bag with instructions. So anyway,
I heard that
um,
one quote where it was like she couldn't pour water out of a boot if the instructions were on the heel.
damn, shouted just. And you know what? I don't think she's. Here's the thing. I don't think she's dumb. necessarily. I don't think she's dumb. I just think that she is wildly out of touch with what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And this is not her area of expertise.
N-
And this is
Right.
why you employ people who know what the hell. Like if you wanted someone to do brain surgery, you don't employ me.
No, please don't.
Don't employ me.
I will kill
I'd
them.
have I'd have the worst malpractice rates in history. And I'd be like, well, shit, I told you I didn't know what I was doing.
I
So,
mean, correct.
but the other thing that's happening is people are outraged, justifiably so, and they're calling for the immediate removal of Dero 45.
Correct.
So,
They
how
want to.
can that happen?
Yes. Please explain to the people.
So, the thing that you might have heard banded around lately, well, we hear impeachment, but here's the thing: Trump was already impeached. Senate did not remove him.
Right. He was
Um,
successfully
and
impeached. Please don't get that wrong. He's
yeah,
already been successfully impeached once. He will most likely
once
be successfully impeached again for
right,
inciting
but he
insurrection.
right and sedition. Like he's just anyway. Your thoughts aside about this person who some of you voted for. So some people are calling for impeachment again, impeachment and removal because you can impeach and not remove. We've seen that happen. Of
In 2019.
yeah, and then I'm almost certain. Don't quote me that someone else was impeached but not removed.
Correct.
Um,
Technically, Nixon was impeached and not removed.
right. So it
He
happened.
resigned.
Yeah, that's that. You can't fire me because I quit,
Yes,
motherfucker.
absolutely. That is exactly what Nixon did.
You don't get to light my career on fire. I do.
I do. I
So
get to leave this
yeah,
place. The same thing happened with Bill Clinton.
right.
He was impeached.
So
He was not
right.
removed.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So the other thing that you might have heard someone say is we need to invoke the 25th Amendment. What the fuck is that? So
Most of
first
us
of
have
all, let's
never
talk
heard of
about
it.
right because someone just learned that the Constitution has 27 amendments and the last one was in 1992.
Absolutely. I
Okay?
knew it had 27 amendments. I did not know when it was done.
No, because you would think, oh, we are a well-established country. We should have gotten it right by now. No, motherfuckers. No.
Nope, nope, nope. The Constitution was
The
a
la
slapdash attempt at hoping that we were getting it right.
it was, you know what it is? It was like the original Google Doc where you just keep everyone keeps editing it.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great way to describe it.
Yes, like it's a Google Doc that you just give permissions to everyone who's in power and they get to be like, well, we should change this and no, we should add this. And the last amendment of the Constitution is younger than both myself and Drea.
Absolutely is.
We some old bitches.
And some old
Anyway, or
bitches.
it's a young amendment.
It
Either
is young. It's
we some
not
old
even
bitches or it's a
30.
younger it's not. It's not. Um but so the 25th amendment of all things, it's the Presidential Disability and Succession Amendment.
Mhm.
And what it is basically an amendment that would be a way to get Trump out of power by force,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Um, so it came about because way back in the 1950s, because
Doop-de-doo.
John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and then his predecessor, Eisenhower, had a major heart attack in the 50s, right? This is before the 25th Amendment.
Hmm.
And so there was no constitutional rule about what happens
I mean,
when
there
a
was a point.
president can. Go ahead.
Sorry, there was a point where one of the presidents, I can't remember who, had a stroke in office, and his wife was basically running shit and pretending like he was still the president.
Right. So like there that was the other thing. So it's a portion of the 25th Amendment that allows the vice president and the cabinet to remove the president, and it was thought about for a person who was in a coma or who had suffered a stroke,
Hmm.
right? So the thing is though, Pence would have to be on board, the cabinet would have to be on board, and that's one reason why all these folks are jumping ship.
Woodrow Wilson
So
figured it out. Sorry, it was going to
there
bug
you
me.
go.
Edith Wilson basically took on president for him and was
I mean,
like, "We're doing it."
probably she probably did a good job.
She absolutely did. And now
Right.
he has a bridge named
Right.
after him in
So I
DC.
mean,
It's ridiculous. He's on the dime.
she should. But anyway, right.
Sorry.
We need some people and not right. We need some people and not Susan B. Anthony because I got issues with that bitch.
I got issues with that bitch
Anyway,
too. But I will say, they put Woodrow Wilson's ass on the dime when his wife ran most of his presidency. Kind of bullshit is
yes.
that? But Edith Wilson on the dime. Just saying.
Right. And
Mhm.
so here's the thing. So the 25th Amendment has four sections, right? It was passed in Congress in 1965 and ratified in 1967, right? And so the first section is how we know everyone knows this part of the amendment, but you didn't know you knew it, that in the case of the removal of the president from office, or he dies or he resigns, the vice president becomes president. That's how where that comes from,
Got it.
right? And then the next part is the if there's a vacancy in vice president because like say say something happened to Trump and he was dead. I'm just saying. Or he got sick and he couldn't do anything. He had a stroke or he had a coma. Um, Pence would become president, and then Pence would now have to nominate a vice president,
Mm.
right? So this is not a vice president that we would vote on. He or she would become vice president by a majority vote of both houses of Congress. So we wouldn't have anything to say,
Okay.
which is why when Trump was elected, the Republican Party had this thought of elect, impeach, replace.
Correct. Because Pence would not have won on his own, which is something that
No,
all
because
Republicans knew.
yeah, because he's a zombie, but I digress. Um so then what?
I mean,
Flies like zombies.
I'm going to let you live. I'm going to let you win.
He's not a machine.
Not a
He's
machine.
not. He's not a machine. I mean, unless you're talking about in the way that human bodies are machines in general. Um,
You know what? Sure.
it's like, yeah, that's what I meant. So
Yeah,
then,
that's
like,
what we're
the
going
third
with.
section goes on to talk about, yeah, we're going with that. So the third section goes on to talk about how if the president tells the president pro tempore, which means at the moment, which would now be the vice president acting as president, if he or she has a written declaration that they are unable, let's talk about first that the gender pronouns in this is all he, okay?
Even though
Keep that in
currently the
mind.
president pro
So
tempore is a
if the
woman.
president, yep,
It's beautiful. Sorry.
yep, yeah. Um, so anyway, so if the current president tells the vice president or president pro tempore that they cannot discharge the powers and duties of their office correctly, it has to be written. They give it to the vice president, give it to the speaker of the House of Representatives, and then the vice president is becomes acting president, right?
Got
So
it.
all of this sounds great. So if the president quits, gets fired, dies, is a coma, can't do his job, vice president becomes president. And then vice president chooses their new vice president,
Okay.
whatever. Okay? And then if the president says, you know what, I'm gonna humble myself, y'all, I can't do this job like I thought. Like I got real bad gout and I can't be walking, and
Not
my
gout.
diabetes, and I can't see. I can't see whatever it is. If the president decides I can't do this job, send a letter, written declaration, because of course this was in a time where it was either written or oral. You couldn't just email. You got to
Right.
write it.
You gotta write it down.
Writing, you write it probably on like really nice stationery, probably a good
Probably
fountain
from the
pen.
office
I
of the
don't know.
president.
But right on that like official stationery, um, he he or she, the president, sends that to them. Is like, y'all, I can't do this job, and then that makes the vice president acting president.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can say I'm acting president because the president currently cannot do his job. He got malaria. He can't do it right now. But if he make it, he'll be president again.
Correct.
I got all these types of diseases and shit in my head.
I mean, you just out the wazoo. Apparently, they've been visiting all types of crazy countries. They've been bitten by mosquitoes. Somebody
I
can't eat
mean,
right. Maybe there's a genetic predisposition.
you
We
gotta.
don't know. You don't know what their diet is. You don't know what their family history is.
Yeah, they may got mad cow disease or something. Like, look, something went down. So here, here's the part where what people are talking about. This section 4. So section 4 talks about if the vice president and a majority of either the majority officers or the majority of the principal officers of the executive departments, like Congress,
Hmm.
they can decide. They have to provide to the president
Mainly the
and the
cabinet
Senate and the
as well.
Speaker the written declaration. Yeah, so like they have to write, like if they think that the president can't do their job, they have to write a letter saying that the president is unable. This is a quote. President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. And if that's the case, the vice president immediately assumes the powers and duties of the office as acting president. Keep in mind now, just acting president, not actual president, right?
Correct.
But then the
Which is
president
also
has a
why a
certain
lot of
amount of
people are
time
mad.
to say, go ahead.
Sorry. I said that's also why a lot of people are mad that cabinet members are jumping ship because cabinet members have the
Right.
ability are some of the only people who have the ability to say this in a majority to be able
Mhm.
to enact this amendment. Sorry.
Right. Right. But if you don't have a cabinet,
Then nobody
you
can vote
know,
you out.
right. So everyone's like, I'm out, bitches. And also, I don't want to be a part of this shit show.
Right. But like you was
Bye.
here for 4 years. What you mean? You don't get
Right. You might as well.
you might as well be
The,
here.
I mean, the captain supposed to go down with the ship. I don't know who the captain was over there, but y'all should stay on the ship and figure it out.
Right.
So anyway,
Y'all are
so
basically the band members playing them off.
the president, yeah, that was the worst thing in Titanic.
It's
I
the
need you to
truth.
understand. I know, but I need you to understand that is not what I would have been doing. I would have been trying to figure out, can this cello float? Can I sit on top of this drum? Can I get inside the drum, this big drum, man? Like, can I? Okay.
Well, I make it out.
Anyway,
Sorry. I'm
can I
sorry. We
use my
digress.
bow as an oar? Yeah, I digress so much. But so the president has a certain amount of time and he can like refute this and he has to have a written declaration, again, no email, no fax,
Hmm.
that no, I can do this job. I don't have no inabilities. And if he can and they approve it, he can become president again and resume stuff, and vice president is no longer acting president, right?
Hmm.
But but they have 4 days to refute this. The vice president and the majority of the Congress or the cabinet, they have 4 days to refute this.
Hmm.
And then Congress has to decide the issue. So if Vice President Pence is like, Trump can't do this fucking job, y'all see what the fuck he did? I'm acting vice president. And the cabinet says, yeah, we agree. I'm acting president. Then Trump come back on his little Twitter. No, he can't tweet it. You
He
got to
can't
actually,
tweet it. He can't Facebook. He can't do none of that.
yeah. So after he have his tantrum on Twitter, and he write a letter saying, actually, no, I here are the reason I can do my job and I can do it because of this, and this. Then they have 4 days to say, actually, no, you can't. Then Congress is like, stop fucking fighting. We're going to determine if you can.
Right.
So Congress they have about 21 days to declare, and it has
Right.
to be 2/3 votes of both houses.
Right. But in the
So really,
interim,
we don't have enough
Pence
time
would
for
still
any of
be
this shit.
acting president.
Still be, hmm he would still be acting president until they decided.
Right.
We got what
And we have very
we
much less than 21 days. It's more like 14 or 15
yeah,
days, less than, honestly.
yeah.
But it's one of those situations where if they're not trying to necessarily enact this amendment because they give a fuck about whether Trump will be able to keep being president or not. They want to do this so that there is a smooth transition of power because everyone knows Trump has been
Mhm.
impeding the transition process.
So much he refused to let people talk. Like people were like, "Well, we want to have a meeting with Biden and them," and he like, "Hell no!" Like
He's been trying to
he refused to give them access to shit. Just roadblocks everywhere.
everywhere. He's been like those goddamn tiny little gauntlets on Wonder Woman's wrist that just seem to be stopping everything. It's like, how does something so tiny and stupid seem to stop every bullet? What the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah,
he's that.
it shouldn't work, but god damn it, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that, honestly, if the elected president is not allowed to transition into power correctly, that is only setting the country further
Mhm.
back. Because what he should have been able to set up well in advance, he is not able to do. So, things like, he's just now able to pick his cabinet members. Those cabinet members need to talk to the acting cabinet members to start taking over some of those responsibilities and figuring out where we are right now.
What cabinet members? They all quit. I mean,
I
they haven't
mean, the
all
ones that
quit,
still
but they
exist.
quitting left and right
They
every
are.
day.
They are.
And like,
There are
if
documents he needs to see. And Biden knows this because he's done it. Like, he's
yeah,
helped with a
like
transition multiple times.
he
So
has.
it's not helpful that Trump keeps doing this. And so that is what Congress is still very upset about. And also, they're pissed that this shit happened and that Trump was like egging this shit on. And if you think he wasn't, I
Yeah.
urge you to look at every last one of his speeches over the last like 3 months. Also, I'm tired of getting his
Stand
emails.
by and stay and watch.
Yeah,
Well,
stand
no
back
one
and
told you
stand
to
by.
sign up for
I wanted to do a survey.
You just want, like, you act like someone made you sign up.
I was doing a survey because I wanted to be an active participant in the election process
Well,
through Donald Trump.
did you get what you wanted?
I mean, yeah, I got access to a lot of the information that he's been disseminating to his followers, which is exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
I want to
Then you
see.
got what you wanted. You got what you wanted and you get what you get.
I mean, yeah, but also I'm so excited for him to possibly take me off of his list. Like, I'd vote for you, bro. Please stop emailing me asking me for money. Donald J. Trump.
Man, y'all should have seen. Like she showed me an email and it was like a ticker tape with all of these names of people who had donated. And I
It's
was like, how much of this is propaganda? Like how many people, I'm pretty sure it's enough people out there who donated. But like to have a ticker tape,
absolutely. It's these emails are they are pure comedy gold, but also I'd like to stop receiving them. There's a reason they go to my spam account. There's a reason they go to my spam email account, but whatever. I digress. But no, thank you, Michelle. That's a lot of information on the 25th Amendment. Who knows whether
yeah.
Congress will actually enact it or whether Pence
Yeah, I
will.
mean, yeah.
I will
I'll be
say,
honest with you.
mm-hmm, go for it.
Oh, you were gonna say something, but no. All I was gonna say is, I'll be honest with you. I am less concerned about removing Trump and more concerned about who we are leaving in the House that like fully backed him on his bullshit. Like those are the people I want to be like, let's look at you. Like, what can we do about you?
Absolutely. I mean, he has less than 14 days and he is proven to most of the world that he is highly irresponsible. And most of the people that like, and by people, I mean most of the world leaders who are at least trying to like give Trump a chance. I'm talking about the Boris Johnsons. I'm talking about the Kim Jong Uns and the leaders of the world who were giving him an inch and he took a mile. They have all distanced themselves from him. Like that motherfucker crazy. We don't want that shit. But
Right.
you're right. It's those members of Congress who let that shit go on for years. It's the Mitch McConnells who were staunchly on his side. It's the Lindsey Grahams, the Ted Cruzes, right? Like, let's
Zodiac
be
killer.
real. That, that is unsubstantial,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
unsubstantiated. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. But it's like, it's those
Yeah. Yeah.
representatives who, even after the stupid coup, and I'm calling it the stupid coup because it was stupid and it was
And
failed,
it was,
it was
yeah, it
dumb
was
from the start.
definitely a failed coup.
Right. Even after the stupid coup, there were still two objections. They went on with the Arizona debate, and in the House of Representatives, it lasted for the full amount of time, like assholes. And then they did it again for Pennsylvania. Like, people were still objecting
They did.
like idiots. Even
Like how can you do it again? Like how can you object some more?
like by the point that they were objecting, four people had already died. Like, are you kidding me? But whatever. It's those people that I'm over here like, y'all gotta go. We
I
can't
agree.
forget this. We have to have a long memory in situations like this because it matters. It's going to matter in terms of like what we get done. Because if they blocked us now, they're definitely going to block us in the future. And by us, I mean people with common sense,
Yeah.
no matter what aisle, like what side of the
That's
aisle they
too
might be
much.
on. But you're absolutely, absolutely right. But,
Yeah.
people mad at this moment. Let's see how mad they actually are. You know, it's still a Panasonic going on right now.
A Panasonic.
It's a pro tempore.
It's a pentatonic.
It's a pentatonic going on in the
Yeah,
world right now.
just no music.
More people
No
have
music,
died,
just making sounds with our mouths.
just making sounds with their mouths. More people have died in the last 3 days than in 9/11. Like, on each day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like,
it's
it's
not
too
stopping.
much.
It's too much. There's two new strains of the coronavirus, and the world is going to shit. So, who knows? We might not make it till the 21st or the 19th.
I hope so.
You hope we do?
I hope so. I hope we make it. I'm saying, not I hope we don't make it.
Oh, you got to be clear.
Yes, I hope we make it. Yeah, let me be very clear. I hope we make it. I hope I hope that we come out of this. This is always my hope. Maybe I'm an optimist that we come out of this with a sense of unity and a more of a sense of purpose. Like, this was fucking stupid. Let's not be looking like this in these streets again. I know that's not going to be the case, but I would like for it to be that way.
I think outwardly it will. I think, and it kind of already has. I mean, it's part of why you've seen President Trump. And honestly, the 25th Amendment being thrown around so openly is also part of why you've seen President Trump walking a lot of this shit back as much as possible. All of a sudden, he's promising a pretty
Back.
peaceful, like
Although,
back. He's promising like a peaceful transition all of a sudden. He's saying there will be a new administration sworn in on the 19th. He's still saying it was fake and shit and that it was stolen from him, but like he's also acknowledging that he may have lost, or the country feels he may have lost. He's basically saying, "I'm sorry that you feel that way." And
how do you be like, I may have? I might have. Like,
I mean, he does not necessarily want to be the person for which the 25th Amendment becomes a reality. You know,
yeah, like, has the 25th Amendment even been used before?
that's a great question. I don't know
No,
because
it's never even been used.
yeah, because it didn't come about
Like,
until
with
like
the
67, right? 60 something.
well, the first three parts have, but like those parts are like somebody died or something, like they were sick, and but like that fourth part, which is the part that'll kick his ass, it hasn't ever been enacted.
Right. And he doesn't want to be the precedent.
That's not what you want to be in history for, right? You're
No,
already going down. You know what? Nope. If you don't have nothing nice to say, shut up.
that's okay. So yes, he's definitely been like, I'm gonna walk this shit back. He's all of a sudden calling his supporters Antifa. He's saying it was wrong. I mean, if you're one of his supporters and you're listening to what he's been saying over the last like 24 hours, you ought to be like, this motherfucker. But whatever. Um,
Right. After all the times I done went out here with no mask for you.
right, right. You should be upset. But that being said, I think outwardly the country, as we have seen over the last like 24 hours, is going to be like, this was dumb. We can't ever look like this again. This is ridiculous. Blah, 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 blah. But I think there will, like, the problems that led to Trump being elected, the thinking that led to Trump being elected, the thinking that led to 74 million people voting for him again, that thinking has not gone away.
No, I don't think it ever gone anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was a part of, not even I think, I know it's a part of the fabric of this country. Um, because you just think about it, this is a country that was established on the fact that, yeah, we want to be free, but only white men who own shit. Not
Mm-hmm.
women, not Native Americans, not African Americans, like no one except
Not
for white
poor white
men who
people.
own property. Yeah, white men who own property.
That's it.
Like that's the only people they were really looking for like freedom for. That's it.
Right.
So in the foundation of this country is this thought of everyone except for this white man is inferior in some type of way.
Right. And slowly but surely they have given more people modicums of power. I
Right.
mean, it's the saying that came about as a result of Georgia turning blue, which was like the South is not red, it is repressed and it is suppressed. And, voter suppression has been happening for years. Let's be real. My own grandfather was involved in a Supreme Court case where he was suing the state of Alabama because they were suppressing his right to vote. He is still not allowed to vote in the city he has lived in for decades. The city has named a day after my grandfather. There is a day named after this man in that city, and he cannot vote for mayor.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
But look at this shit. So my family's has gone down in the books for a court case as well, but it was definitely because part was a member of my family was worked for the mob.
Oh shit. That got dark.
They work for the mob, man.
Uh,
Like,
okay. Not quite the same, but I get it.
no, I'm just saying, like, you got some like interesting history in your family,
Oh yeah.
but over here, well, okay, I say that, but
That's
then also
interesting as
my,
well. Let's
yeah,
not.
I say that, but my grandma also helped put a couple of presidents in office. She worked on the Democratic Party like of DC. So she
Oh,
put
cool.
quite a few people into office.
That's
But we
awesome.
but we still got that one that was a part of the mob or he worked for the mob.
Look, if you take home nothing, start
So,
talking to your family members and figuring out what the skeletons in those closets happen to be. Because I bet you got a bunch. I bet you got some fun ones.
oh yeah, my great grandma ran numbers.
There you go.
She ran numbers, but she also cooked for the DC chief of police.
Hmm. You know what?
Right. So she did both of those things at the same time.
She was looking out for herself, okay? She was trying to make sure she had an ear to the ground, okay? I have a great aunt who
I
was a
mean,
dancer in the Harlem Renaissance. Great Aunt
ooh, shake it,
Dorothy.
shake it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Shimmy,
Um,
shimmy.
she died apparently, as the story is told, because a Get You woman put a curse on her using her pubic hair. I don't know. I think it was because she caught syphilis or something, but that's the story the family's going with.
I mean, but did she catch syphilis because the Geechee woman put the curse on her? So I
With the pubic
mean,
hair.
yeah.
The pubic hair is very important
I
to that to
mean,
the story apparently.
these things could both of yeah, but both of those things could have been true. I'm just saying.
Either way, start talking to your families. You'd be surprised. But let's be honest, for a good amount of people I know, you have direct connections to people who could not vote 50, 60 years ago. My grandfather is
Yeah.
still alive, very much alive. He ain't
Mhm.
going nowhere. He refuses. I think it's out of spite, but
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Yeah. So like the point is this shit is not ancient. It's not ancient history.
hmm hmm We're not super removed from this shit. And don't let people try and
Right.
act like you are. And if people do try and act like you are, give them some context because the further people can remove themselves, the easier it is to be like,
Yeah.
well, it's not like that anymore. That's the past. And realistically, for some people, they're still dealing with those issues every day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. We've been yelling at each other for a while now.
I don't think we've been yelling at each other. I think
Okay.
we've been yelling in harmony.
I think we have been yelling in harmony. I like that.
I don't know.
I'm gonna prefer
Maybe.
to call it that
No?
way.
Okay.
Yeah. And I we've been yelling in harmony about the government for quite some time. How about that?
Yeah.
It's been like an
Yeah.
hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good God.
sorry.
Y'all, you still listening?
How? How are you guys
Oh
still
my God.
listening? Go
I
ahead.
don't know how you're still listening. But if you're still listening,
Subscribe.
um uh well, please. I mean, shit. You came this far. Um but if you're still listening, we appreciate you. Um and even if you didn't make it all the way here, we still appreciate you. Not that you
Yeah.
know that because your ass didn't go this far,
How
but
fucking dare you? Never mind. I'm sorry.
just rude. But no, because no, now this is no, this is going to be a test. This is a test. I'll know if you were listening. You'll know. Here's a clue. I'm right-handed. You had to get this far to know that I was right-handed. Ha! Not that that's you could have guessed that,
I am
but
also
I'm just saying.
right-handed. Boom. You got double facts.
Bam.
Bam. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
We
We're gonna get out of here. Hopefully,
boom.
hopefully things don't get worse. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
God, well, time will only tell though.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. And
Yeah,
who
and
knows? Maybe next episode we'll be
hopefully you
filming this
learned
on the road.
something.
Maybe we'll do
Oh
it on the
shit.
road show.
On the road again.
I can't wait to be on the road
On
again.
the road again.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right. I've been Drea.
Okay. And I am always, always, always Michelle. Like I wake up this way, I promise.
I don't. Anyway, thanks for listening.
You put on your Drea suit.
Yeah, there's a skin suit that hangs in my closet, and I don't put it on every day just because you gotta let that shit breathe.
Do you put clothes on the skin suit or no? Or are clothes attached?
It depends. It's like Polly Pocket skins. You know how you used to be able to just snap that bitch on? I'm joking. Oh God, get me out of here.
I I promise we're not aliens. Okay. Bye y'all.
Bye. Also, I make no promises. Bye.